Hey guys, Mr. Lloyd here. I'm going to work with you today on multiplying fractions. Today's work, we're going to be multiplying some fractions times fractions. We're going to be multiplying fractions by whole numbers, then by mixed numbers, and finally we'll top it off with mixed numbers multiplied together. Let's start up here, fractions times fractions. So remember, there's a rule for each of these different scenarios, and all these rules fit together pretty nicely. The rule for fractions times fractions is really straightforward. It's numerator times numerator, then denominator times denominator. So let's see what this looks like in practice. The top of this new fraction would be 1 times 1, and the bottom would be 2 times 3. So of course 1 times 1 is going to be 1, and of course 2 times 3 is going to be 6, and my final answer for 1/2 times 1/3 equals 1/6. Okay, pretty straightforward there. Let's take a look at another problem, another fraction times a fraction. 2/7 times 4/9. So once again, I multiply my top number by my top number, my two numerators multiplied together, 2 times 4, and then 7 times 9. And of course, I get 8 on top and 63 below. Now, for these first two examples, pretty straightforward examples. I picked some simple ones for us. We don't have to worry about any simplifying here, but we'll see later we'll have to simplify these fractions. There'll be one additional step we do on the next couple of problems. Let's see what it looks like multiplying a fraction by a whole number. So here we've got 2/3 times 3. Here the technique is really straightforward. We just put a 1 underneath the whole number, and now we're working with a fraction. And then we carry out the same step. So 2 times 3 on top, 3 times 1 on bottom, and let's see what we get. 2 times 3 would be 6, 3 times 1 is 3. So now I have a fraction of 6/3. So here I have to do a short simplification. I know that 3/3 would be 1 whole, but I have 6 total thirds, which means my answer is 2. Okay, pretty straightforward there. So multiplying it by a whole number. Same thing over here. One more example, multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. 3/4 times 2. Once again, I'm going to put my 1 underneath. And now I have 3/4 times 2 written out as a fraction. So 3 times 2 on top. 4 times 1 on bottom. And I get 6 over 4 this time. So once again, I need to simplify. So I'm going to write another equal sign. I know that 4/4 would be 1 whole, but I have 6/4. So I have 1 whole and 2/4 left over. But here I notice, because I'm a great math thinker, just like you guys are, that 2 and 4 are even numbers, which means that each of these two numbers are divisible by 2. So I'm going to rewrite this mixed number as 1. And if I divide 2 by 2, I get 1. And if I divide 4 by 2, I get 2. That number is better known as 1/2. Okay, so that simplification step, as you'll see when you're working through these problems, the simplification step can be the one that it can sometimes be a stumble. But the basic idea here, multiplying fractions, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, then simplify as you need. So now we're going to look at a new problem. We're multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. So we have 1/2 times 4 and 1/3. So what we'll do here is we will rewrite 1/2 as 1/2. I'm just going to rewrite this below because that's where I gave myself space in the paper. And then I need to convert this mixed number to a really wonky looking improper fraction. So my top is going to be quite a bit larger than my bottom. Whenever I'm converting these, the denominator always stays the same. So I can come down here, and now I know I'm going to have 3 on the bottom. And for the top, I'm going to take 4 times 3, and I'm just going to write this out for this practice problem here. 4 times 3 plus the 1 over here. The reason I do that is that the 4, what I'm doing is I'm rewriting this mixed number in terms of thirds. So I know that 4, if I have a whole number 4 here, I know I'm going to have, to turn that into thirds, I need to multiply it by 3. So 4 times 3, but I can't forget this 1 that's floating out here too. Otherwise that would change the value, and I don't want to change the value. So now let's see here. I'm going to rewrite it one more time. 1/2, haven't changed anything yet there. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13. So now I've got 1/2 times 13/3. And now it looks like these problems up here where I can just multiply straight away. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 1 times 13 would of course be 13, and 2 times 3 would of course be 6. And one more time here, I know that 13/6 is an improper fraction, so I know that 6/6 would be 1 whole, 12/6 would be 2 wholes, but I have 13/6, so I'm going to have 2 and 1/6, 1/6 left over. And that is multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. So these, again, this step right here, I wrote it out, 4 times 3 plus 1. Normally when we do these in class, we just do this as mental math, but I wanted to write it out here to remind you exactly how we do this. 4 times 3 plus 1. In every mixed number, it's the same idea. You multiply the whole number times the denominator, and then add your numerator. Whole number times denominator, add the numerator. Let's see that again. Coming down here, we're going to be multiplying now mixed numbers times mixed numbers. So let's see again. We know that 4 and 1/3 is going to need to be converted, and we know the outcome is going to be 13 and 1/3. 13/3. So let's see if we're going to do the same thing with 3 and 1/3, and let's see what we get when we multiply these together. So this would be, I'm going to write it out one more time, 4 times 3 plus 1. This would be all over 3 times, and it's the same idea here, whole number times denominator, 3 times 3 plus 1, all over 3. So now I'm going to rewrite it one more time here. 4 times 3 plus 1, I already figured that out to be 13/3, times 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So now I have 13/3 times 10/3. Now it looks like some of these problems, and now I'm ready to follow my regular strategy of numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 13 times 10 would give me 130, and 3 times 3 would give me 9. And now I need to figure out exactly how many times 9, here is my simplification step. So I have to think about how many times 9 would fit into 130. So let me take out the old calculator. And since you guys are going to be at home during this time, as I said on my opener, you're more than welcome to use a calculator. Whether or not it will be very useful, I don't know. But if you want to use it, please do. 130 divided by 9. So it would be 14. And there would be 4 left over. So my answer would be 14 and 4/9. Now, if I was to multiply these two together, taking away the two fractions here, it's 4 times 3. The answer is 12. So this is a pretty reasonable answer for this problem. Okay. All right. So that should help you out with today's work. This is from Monday. And today's work, you're going to be doing 3-10. I'm going to show you real quick just how to do number 1, just so you understand this is the exact same thing I just practiced there. So this would be 3/8 times 10. So once again, I'm just going to rewrite the whole problem with a 1 underneath my whole number. And then I multiply 3 times 10, I get 30. 8 times 1, I get 8. 38ths now simplifies to, well, let's see. 24/8 would be 3 whole. This would be 3 6/8. And then there's one more simplification step for my fraction here. 6/8, both of these are even, so this would be 3 3/4 would be my final answer. Okay? So you guys, that is all I'm going to show you for today's video. I want to keep these reasonably short here. Please do your best on today's work on homework 3-10. And let me know if you have any questions. We'll be Zooming later on this morning. We'll have an opportunity to ask questions. You can always get a hold of me through phone calls, Remind, email, text. Okay, so lots of different options. All right, good luck out there, and I'll see you later.